We're going to talk a little bit about how Arsenal got the 3 points and ran out of there as quick as they could in just a bit. All right, everyone. Welcome to the trip. I am DWTT. I've got a full house tonight. First up, Matt, say hi to the people.
Evening, everybody.
Cool. Tony?
Hey.
Oh, Tony's on a little bit of a delay today. It seems we're gonna have to deal with that.
It worked last.
I thought it was working in the back room too. So we shall see. So you're gonna have to just bear with us, and Tony, you're just gonna have to let me control when you talk, I guess, so that you don't have to worry about them getting cut off and stuff like that. And down in the bottom right there, you got Lonzo. How you doing?
Hey guys, it's nice to meet you again, and I hope we have a good show tonight.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. And in the middle, on the bottom there, Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, how are you doing?
All
right. Mr. Tom is not happy for some reason. I guess we'll try to figure this out and maybe turn that frown into a smile at some point today. And last but not least, Stan, how are you doing?
Well, I'm immensely happy. Thank you for having me on, and looking forward to going over the weekend's events.
Cool. Yeah, there was a lot of good football, that helped Arsenal for sure. And I see some people have joined us. As usual, this Tony guy is in the house talking about stuff. And Arsenal Misfit, welcome to the show. Riddy is in the house. Arsenal's Red October. That's a different show, isn't it? Big Gun is also in the house. And you got Tony. And I guess we're gonna have everybody's gonna get a name today. Matt is the voice of reason. All right. And Steve Denham has joined us. Welcome. And I think, we'll get this. And I'll let you guys, I guess we'll go ahead and get started here. So let's start with it. Yeah. And we'll get into it because I think we have a lot to talk about today. So first things first, Arsenal took a trip up to Ellen Road, played Leeds. Coming into the game, I know for me, I knew it was going to be a tough match. I saw Leeds play in the flesh, and they have a really good squad, so I knew it was going to be a tough one, especially the way we played coming into it, and it did. We looked the same as we did in that midweek game as we did on that weekend game, so that was going to be a tough challenge for us. So I knew it was going to be tough. But I'll let you guys have your say, and then I'll add my bits at the end there. So Matt, I'll let you get the ball rolling. Leeds versus Arsenal. I guess we'll go first with just some quick thoughts on it, and then we'll kind of let everybody get their thoughts, and then we'll get into the individual pieces that I think everybody wants to talk about as well.
Well, first off, we cannot start this without starting this the right way. We must sing the song. We are top of the league. We are top of the league. We are top of the league. I said we are top of the league. I'm gonna eat that up long as I can. No, but seriously, we are top of the league. We got a win yesterday. It was absolutely ugly. It's probably one of the ugliest wins we've had. And truth be told, we should really feel like we got out of jail yesterday. That was some hair-raising stuff the second half. And I know me and you talked there briefly there after the game. but it was some hair raising stuff there in that game, and you know, it just hammered home. You know, we talked about it Monday, and you all talked about it on the fan circle last week. We have got to get some bodies on this team. Now, a lot of people are not talking about this, but I'm going to throw this out there. I think this game Thursday, this game against PSV is we're going to find out something this week, because this will be the first test, true tried and true test in the Europa League, and I think we're starting to see where the team is starting to wear out, because we are going to we don't have that squad depth that we talked about all year. If we can get over this line, I think by the time we get to the World Cup, we'll still be at the top of the table. I honestly believe we'll still be at the top of the table by the time the World Cup hits. I think we'll beat Chelsea, and I think we'll still be at the top of the table. But the question is going to be, are we going to be able to hang in there? Because that game yesterday showed me one or two things. I watched Jesus, who I felt like he was playing hurt. That was just me. There had already been talks about him not playing the game anyway, and in that made me wonder: well, is Arteta second? Is he second guessing himself when it comes to Nketiah up top? Also, Odegaard had a rough one yesterday. Yeah, he had a really rough one yesterday, man.
And let's hold that thought on individual players, because we probably have a lot we can talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Individual players. So I'll let Tony, quick thoughts on the game.
We were lucky to get a win. They outplayed us. And trend of since Zinchenko's been out of less shots. We were somewhere between 16 and 30, shooting lots of shots. Not clinical enough. Jesus was definitely injured. We definitely need to go out there and get that set to be talking to every team we can. Second World Cup. But further on in the game, just getting tired. He isn't putting out players as early as he is. But you're seeing people come on with 30 minutes left. Here you're seeing 15 of the time in Premier League. Players are going to get more tired. Happened.
Yep.
Overall, it's 3 points. We should still be in first place. Come a World Cup break scheduled than we do, so I don't see them gaining on us. Put another 2 to 3 points on there, which we need to. The game itself.
Cool. And we'll go into the chats real quick, and I'll let everybody else have their say as well. Why Not has joined us, and of course, he is still our starter out. Yeah. Miss Melina has joined us. Miss Melina, welcome to the show. Stan is the voice of DB Cooper. All right.
DB Cooper.
Yep. And I don't know who this is. Oh, I guess I do know who this is, but there we go. Who else? Somebody else joined us, I think. Oh, yes. Ben Ireland is in the house. He's brought some support in for Mr. Tom. So there you go. There's some support from the LEEDS fans for Mr. Tom. And we'll let everybody have their say. So next up, and we'll go here. Stan, have your say.
A very hard fought 3 points. We managed to get through that with a little bit of luck our way with some of the decisions. We got away with a couple of things, and I don't mind that, because I've seen us be on the end of decisions where we had no luck at all, and have been mugged off by some decisions. So I don't mind that. Patrick Bamford's shithousery notwithstanding, which I'm sure that we'll talk about individuals in more detail. But very pleased, you know, this is we've not had a start to a season like this since something like 1908. So we're talking like you know, over a century ago. So, you know, if anybody is still out there, you know, hiding in the jungle, thinking that the Civil War is still on, it's time to come out. It's time to lay down your weapons. I mean, there's no other manager in your lifetime that's had a start to a season like this. Therefore, I think the manager does deserve, you know, backing by everybody, because we're moving in the right direction. And me personally, I'm at a stage now where I can't look forward enough to each match that comes along. You know, there was a time and a place not so recently ago where I was getting up early in the mornings and it was just like, oh, you know, well, I just nicked a line there from Gary, but it was, oh God, getting up again to, don't know what I'm going to be watching, but now I'm looking forward to it. So can't wait till Thursday.
Definitely. And Mr. Tom, I'll let you have your say on the match, your initial thoughts. We'll get into the individual players and stuff like that, but talk to the people. Want to hear you. I know it's going to be hard, but go ahead. You can get through this.
Sometimes football makes me want to slip my wrists again. I hate football. I really hate it. It's awful. It manages to consistently find new ways to disappoint me. And it did that yesterday. I hate football. Please move to Alonso.
All right, next up, Alonso. Have your say.
Right. So, you know, it was we were going to watch, like Stan had said, you know, we always, you know, turn up early to watch games. And, you know, I woke up early yesterday thinking that it was going to be a blowout and high scoring game for Arsenal, but it wasn't the case. I think that the coach there, Leeds, Marsh, has got a good team, and it's a matter of time for to get some wins in them. I'm really pleased with the team they had there at Leeds. But Arsenal, yeah, I mean, sometimes we gotta win tough and fight hard to the end. And the Rams, it was a good game. I think we needed that game in order to boost our confidence. I think that, you know, sometimes, you know, we gotta win dirty and nasty. And like Stan was saying, that we sometimes don't have the calls going our way in the past because we aren't good enough. Now, I think we've convinced ourselves that we've kind of deserved our challenges go our way sometimes. And, you know, whenever, like I was saying, you know, these played us well. They congested our players. Our passes weren't going the way we wanted them to. And, you know, sometimes the lower league teams, you know, they give us a hard time, and Leeds are a prime example of that. So, yeah, it was a hard-fought win, and, you know, hopefully we learn from this as well.
Cool. Yeah, no, like I said, going into this match, and based on what I had seen from Leeds, I expected them to put it in a performance. And I can say this, and Mr. Tom, you've probably heard me say this multiple times. I'd rather take a good performance over a result in the long term. And the performance from Leeds yesterday was really good. I mean, I just watched the first half today, and it wasn't easy for us to get what we got when we got opportunities. In the second half, we got nothing. So if you have a blueprint, for the way that you're going to play. You know, you had some players coming in off the bench. So I think once everybody gets into form, you'll be better for it. But it was we didn't have a good performance, but your team did. The result doesn't work out your way, but I can tell you from experience, you continue with the performances that you have, you'll be fine. You'll be fine there. And as we said, you know, at the bottom there, you can see the score. I've got Gabriel and I've got I don't know how you say that, but we definitely were happy to get the 3 points and get out of there. It wasn't easy. Had multiple chances to have the points taken away from us, and we got lucky. That's all I'm going to say is we got lucky. I know we're talking about some of the players, and you guys can get into. You guys can talk about the score, but I guess one player I did want to speak about, and that's Gabriel. I know he's been getting a lot of heat lately, and I was watching. I watched the replay of the first half because I couldn't get through both halves of it. But there's a comment that stands out for me from one of the commentators. It's a play, and I'll kind of read you what my notes say. Tomiyasu puts a pass into Ramsdale, he's got a player running on him, and he gets the ball out. It's basically he just gets it out as fast as he can. It hits Gabriel and bounces back towards back into the box essentially. And the commentator is like, and he basically said, I think he said a slack foot from Gabriel. Now, Gabriel, there's no way he was going to stop that ball because Ramsdale just blasted it out of there. And that comment there is kind of what we see sometimes when people talk about Gabriel. He does have some negative plays in him, but he's probably getting a lot more than he deserves. I mean, in the game yesterday, many said Saliba had a worse game, but you wouldn't know it, right? In terms
and he
of
also had a handball.
Yeah. So a lot of things, Gabriel gets a lot of negative feedback towards him, but I don't think all of it's warranted, but some of it definitely is. Because I think if you looked at some of the stats for the game yesterday, he actually had a really good day as a defender. He probably was our best defender on the day. But he had some.
He should have been sent off.
That's a different story.
No, it's not. He kicks in with his studs. He should be sent off.
He didn't. Okay, we can get into that if you want to. Here's my first thought, and I know Matt, if he's there, my first thought, I actually talked to Matt, and I said, you know what? When I looked at it, one, Ramsdale just bowls him over, and in that instance, a player's being bowled over, he's going to fall and roll, right? And that's kind of what, to me, my initial view was, right? And that's why his legs were up there in the air like that. Upon review, I did see a leg move. Now, whether or not it made contact, I haven't seen any contact. So for me, I didn't see it. I don't know if anybody actually saw a reverse view of his foot, because you see his foot move for sure, but you don't know if there's any contact or anything like that. So for the kick out, maybe you can give him something, but there's no contact there. Bamford, did he embellish a little bit? I don't know, but
a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, we don't see it. I don't know if anybody saw it, but we don't see it. But we definitely see the leg move in a really, really bad situation. So he got lucky. The officials did what they did what they thought they needed to do to calm things down, I guess. But yeah, we'll go into this one. So I guess we're talking about Gabriel right now, and I'll go from Matt to Mr. Tom, and then we'll let everybody have a say as well on that one.
Well, I just Gabriel, he has this I call self-destruct button that he hits it at the most inopportune time. Yesterday after we talked, you know how I feel about the whole situation, but I just felt like, all right. So let me break it down to you this way. This is the way I had to break it down. This is the way I broke it down to Lee yesterday. The Bamford ran into him, so therefore Bamford's in the wrong. So that's one play. Then you have to go into the kick out. That's why I say he got off the hook at, because most referees would probably card you for that. It's the kicking out. And the reason why I say this is where I said he has his self-destruct button, where he tends to do. Jesus does it. Jesus does it. He does it from time to time where they and it's a Brazilian thing. I see it all the time. You see it over there with you see it with what's his name that was Rodrigo. You see it Rodrigo. You see all these guys that these Brazilians. They do it all the time, where they tend to flare up, and then they'll do something. All it takes is the right referee. Like I said, we got off the hook yesterday on a couple of things there. Thinking about that, thinking about it in retrospect, after having to cool down, I would probably say it's not a red. I would say it's definitely a yellow, just kicking out alone. But it's not a red. So I just think, but in that now let's Gary, let's look at this. In that is what I'm telling you about those of flashpoints that could cost us in a run of games where we need to win. This is what the mindset that we have to have. We cannot have that kind of stupidity, and we're trying to do something good here.
Yep.
We just can't do that. But he has to. I don't know. I mean, it seems like this happened this year because I don't know if it's me, y'all, but I don't recall him being this brash last season. I just don't recall him being I don't know does he feel like he has to play up to, overcompensate? But it's just happened this year. I've just noticed that.
Question when I get to talk, Matt.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'll go to Mr. Tom here, but I kind of feel like he's got a lot of responsibilities and he's feeling the pressure, and he doesn't need to, but he is. Mr. Tom, go ahead. I'll let you have your say on Gabriel, and I guess we're getting into it. So that play with Bamford and the results afterwards.
I don't like him. I think that obviously he'll lose a lot of sleep over that. I think that if Harry Kane had barged him in the 46th minute, it would have been 1-0 to Tottenham. Or sorry, 1-1. I think it was a big six decision, regardless of what you think about VAR. I think I'm not going to say it should have been a penalty for the Bamford tussle because it's obviously not. But I'm disappointed that Saliba wasn't sent off because you pull a player back on the halfway line when the team's through, it's a booking. So why isn't it a booking when he did it to Bamford? Not that I want to go all tie like where's the card, but these things affect the game. And if we would have done that, we got players sent. Gary, you were literally in the stadium when we got a player sent off for sticking his leg out when the team took a free kick. This is ridiculous. Yep. It's fucking absurd, actually. And I can't believe it. And everyone sits there, oh, you played so well. It's like being the nicest guy in prison. You get nothing for it. Fuck off. Fucking Leeds. Fuck me off.
He's having a Matt Odom breakdown tonight. He's having a Matt Odom breakdown tonight.
I tell you where we're going. I tell you where we're going at this fucking rate, the Championship. Because all you need in Premier League is someone that can put the ball in the net. And people are going to sit and go, oh, you're defending Patrick Bamford. You defended Patrick. Why aren't you mentioning this? Why aren't you mentioning Patrick Bamford when he went into Gabriel's back? I'm not going to defend I'm not in the Patrick Bamford fucking fan club. After that fucking penalty, the fucking state of it. It's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah. I can tell you we were sitting in the same situation as you last year in a City match. We had probably the best first half we've had all season. Probably the best first half we've had in the last 2 or 3 years, even this year. Should have been up more than that. Should have been up more than a goal. Rodrigo probably should have been out of the match. Many will say that. And guess who scores the winner for us, right? I mean, so we've seen it. We've been right in your same shoes, similar situations, not getting the calls, and we're supposedly big six, right? So it doesn't always pan out that way,
can I answer one of Riddy's questions because he's made about 3 or 4 stupid comments in the comment section with respect to him. But I'll answer this one. Reason Christensen's offside was irrelevant was because they legally deem it the second phase of play. But why did it matter anyway? You could have used 46 penalties and Bamford would have missed all 46. So what does it fucking matter?
I hear you. And so we're gonna let Tony go. Tony, have your say.
I'll go at piece in there. To me, It's not about the player, about the coach and the way he lines up the players.
Well, let's talk about Gabriel, and then we can get into the coach later, because everybody wants to talk about Gabriel right now. So I don't want to go off.
I'm
go off on
talking
a
about
tangent.
Gabriel.
All right.
The tangent is you got a very high line. Here you had Zaka dropping back to fill the left back position. Now you have Tomiyasu back there. Why not just do a back three? Have Gabriel, Tomiyasu, and Saliba. And the comment section, Gabriel, best defender stat-wise. We heard all this. If Bamford completed his penalty, we drew or ended up losing. Would there been a big bust? We always hear from most of the fans unique, but for some reason everybody picks out Gabriel. He doesn't make, but he's put in a position where he can make mistakes. A lot of times there are wide open island in front of him, so he's the last one he shouldn't be. A lot of times you'll look, you have a halfway line. That's not a way to protect your player. In fullbacks, just go with a back three. It will work anyway. So I wonder why you don't use three. Put your three best defenders back there. Have them not venturing or above the halfway line. But something that teams are figuring it out. Leeds had it figured out. And B, C, and D. But all we have is plan A. Island all by itself. Leaves him for room to make mistakes. Players like Patrick Vieira made mistakes. You could name defenders that made mistakes when they're young. He's still 24, still learning. But I put on my coach and other players, the way the team's lined up.
Cool. I hear you. All right. There we go. Stan, your turn.
So for me, I think Gabriel Megalegs is the kind of player that plays with a lot of emotion. Very similar in the way that Martin Keown used to play. He plays very much on that line. And I think that it's been revealed to people in the Premier League that he has that about him. And I think that because of that, he's played right into Patrick Bamford's hands. I think Patrick Bamford came on and he probably was given instructions to get about Gabriel, because do you know that you can get a reaction out of Gabriel? Exactly the reason why that he kicks out with his leg. Very similar to Patrick Vieira, another player that played with emotion, with the Old Trafford incident when he kicked out his leg at Van Nistelrooy. It's a very sort of similar situation, similar to David Beckham in the England-Argentina match when he kicked out his leg. Players that play with emotion. And I'm glad that Mr. Tom hates him. And the reason I say that is it's for far too long, we've had a reputation of having soft players. I want more of our players to be hated by the opposition. I hate that player. I hate that guy, because there's loads of players in the league that I'm like that about. But then I can look at that player and think to myself, I wouldn't mind him in our team, though. Do you know what I mean? And it's a little bit of a case that if Gabriel Megalegs is a shitbag, he's our shitbag. So I'm glad we're getting to garner a little bit of that reputation about ourselves, because we've had this reputation of having a soft underbelly for too long. The only thing that worries me is it's okay having a player that plays with a lot of emotion, but it's no good if they're going to cost you in a cup final, or perhaps get sent off in a cup final just when you're looking at you're getting hold of the game and going to get something out of it. So I hope that he's only 24 years old. He's still got plenty of learning to do. So I hope that, that they're talking to him. I mean, if we're all discussing it, I'm sure they're discussing it at Arsenal. And Arsenal put a tweet out today, didn't they, showing all of his stats, you know, his 100% completion at aerial duels and his passing rate and blah blah blah, with an emoji of a strong arm. So they're obviously aware of it. They're aware of the chatter, you know, that's going around. But it's obvious that Mikel Arteta sees him as our best defender, and I think the stats show that he is our best defender. You know, he'll rest other defenders, but he won't rest Gabriel Megalegs if he doesn't have to. So I'm really happy with him as a defender. I like it that he plays on the edge the way that he does, but he does need to curb it a little bit. I don't want him to curb it completely, because then you're going to take something out of that player, and it's not going to be the same player. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you're looking at that particular instance with Bamford, I mean, why does he have to go and push him like that? And why does Bamford have to fall over? He's the one doing the pushing. Is he pushing him that hard that he's losing his own balance? I mean, he went down fairly easily, you know. So Gabriel's been given a red card, but then he's looked at it, he's seen what's happened, he's pulled it back. For me, I don't think Gabriel should have even got a yellow card, because if you're pulling it back and saying, well, hold on a minute, there was an incident here, then that's where you go back to for the misdemeanor. The kick out by Gabriel, whether you think it's bad or not, for me, it's a kind of a moot point. It's a reaction because of provocation as well. And there was no connection. But I know that some people won't agree with me and say that I'm protecting my player, and rightly so. I will protect my player. But I do believe that if the referee's pulled it back like that, then it is kind of like a moot point, because he's pointing out the earlier transgression by the Leeds player. That's just how I see it.
Cool. And last but not least, we'll let you go, Lonzo, on the Gabriel incident.
Yeah, the Gabriel incident, right? So, you know, we all know he loses cool sometimes. Sometimes those are in big games, like last year against City, and of course messes up against other teams as well last year. So there have been instances in the past that he's done that, whether he loses focus or loses his mind a little bit. And I'm not doubting his talent level. I think that he's been one of our best defenders for a couple of years now. And he has time to improve, and he's still very young too. So, but also, you know, he has to set a standard for his whole center backs, like Saliba and whoever maybe case may be with Ben White and also Tommy Asu. So, if he's our best defender, then he should set the bar high with them as well. But you know, it's a little bit concerning that he does it a little bit too often, in my opinion. That he gets himself caught up in that mess where he shouldn't have to. And we know Xhaka does it as well. But Xhaka's done a little bit better job of containing himself a little bit. And hopefully Gabriel will do the same thing, because we're going to need him to be tough in games like that, but not show so much emotion, and to back off that a little bit, because the talent is there, obviously. So, you know, hopefully that Arsenal will talk to him about that also, to not get him in that predicament as often as he does. And just because, you know, he's a good center back doesn't mean he's prone to mistakes. But I think he'd get right with that, because he is our best defender. And obviously Arteta rates him very high. But also, I think Stan had mentioned that I think Arteta should learn how to rotate his players a little bit, just to, I guess, take risks here and there a little bit, especially during the season, as he get closer to the end of the season. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens, because you know, we're gonna need to use Tomiyasu and Ben White at the center back positions in the near future. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Gabriel needs to work on his emotions a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, but we're gonna need him in big games, and I'm hoping that he'll correct them, because we're gonna need this title run. You know, we're gonna be in a race for it.
Cool. Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what everybody's saying there, with in terms of Gabriel. And I mean, I think we need rotation in general. I think as a team, it's not necessarily only physical, but there is some mental strain on the squad, and that's why I always feel like rotation is key. So we might be seeing a little bit of that as well. So yeah, and that's kind of where I feel with that one. He's been having his blips consistently now, so we'll see if he gets to sit. The problem I have with that whole thing is the one person that can sit him, we have to use him at right back. So it's kind of a depth issue with Arsenal right now. Ben White's been playing really good at right back, and so much so that he just starts. I think he started every match for us out there in the Premier League anyway. So that we'll probably get into that as well as we talk about going forward here. But we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other players on the pitch. I think for me, Saka had a moment of brilliance and was able to score along with Erdogan, who in the first half I looked at that, he had a really good game. You don't see it much because nothing came out of it, but he did have a really good game. Ramsdale kept us in this match all the way through. Probably the most consistent player on the pitch for us. I'm going to also kind of give some props out to what I saw on the other side. Bamford basically put a lot of pressure on us when he came in the match. Rodrigo, I think, has probably still looked a little rusty out there, but he did have some good plays out there. Sinistera as well. Eriksen surprised me. I know you guys bring that up a lot, and I looked back and saw that again. Looked really good out there. So this is where I look at it and I go, you know what? On another day, we don't win. We don't even come close. So, and that's what I saw from some of the other players out there. Matt, I know I think you wanted to talk about some other players on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I just Odegaard was he seems to have a lot of problems if there's a really hard press on him. There was one or two times there he tried to pull off a back heel when he just need to make a simple pass or what have you. I just think that yesterday's game was just one of those. It was one of those games where you see where your problem areas are, and if you don't have games like that, you can't really find where your problem areas are. So I hope Arteta this morning or either tomorrow rolls the tape out so that they can just to have a look at where some of those problem areas are. Because we were kind of that second half, man. It was we were under siege from the start of the whistle. I mean, under siege. I mean, it was just at the panic station. And then there came a point there, probably about a little around after that foul. I was just looking. I was just praying that they didn't get a goal. But it was just basically, man. It was chaos. And I mean, I'm still perplexed with how we got out of that game with a win. I am shocked. And to the team's credit, I will say, last year we would have lost that game. We lost it by 2 or 3 goals last year, easily. There were some circumstances, that we got, like I said, we got off the hook yesterday, but I can emphatically say we probably would have lost that game pretty bad last year. So. But Odegaard, this kind of goes back to why I said I think we really need to get some players here. Yeah. And I said this to David Lee, him and Kenny King. I told him, I said, if we're competing, because I'd say everybody on the panel now sees us, at least challenging for top 3 at the rate we're at now. We can genuinely say, okay, we're trying to make some noise. I think the next few months are going to give all of us a good picture of the ambition of the club and what are they trying to do. I think because the way I phrased it yesterday on my fan count was, we're in the driver's seat now. We're used to being we're used to be the ones coming up from behind. We're actually driving the car now. So, as you would say, we're on the trip.
Yep.
And where are we going? And I think a lot of the next I'm going to tell us exactly where we're going. So,
Yeah,
That's just my thoughts on that.
Yep. And yeah, I think many think we still have a, by what is it, November 12th, I think it is, or 13th or 15th, whenever that is, that we hopefully will be in the same position as we are right now. So Tony, I guess go ahead. Any other players you want to talk about?
Ramsdale's really the only one to me because he's the one that basically saved our asses. We definitely been screwed. If Bamber that after Saliba did a foul, everybody just gives a pass. I don't know why they want to pick out on. It's okay for Saliba to put his hand out there. Like Tom said, pull a player. Should have had 2 yellows. Should have been sent off.
Cool. All right, Mr. Tom. We're talking about the players here, other than Gabriel. So I'll let you have your say on any players you want to highlight in the game.
Yeah, well done. You've done well.
That's all you want to say? Come on, there's players on your side that had a good match performance wise. I know you just lost, but that's gonna happen for a lot of us.
In life, there are winners. In life, there are winners, and there are losers.
Hey, Gary, you need to stop trolling that man. Stop trolling that man. Like
I'm trying to be nice to him because I don't want to.
Hey, man, he's hanging out with us through some tough times, man.
Yeah, he's been smiling when he's been talking to us. So no, the reason why I can't do that is because it wasn't like you guys made these silly mistakes over and over and over again. I did not.
We gave you the ball that led to a goal.
Yeah, well, you had opportunities.
We literally put it on a plate for you.
That was one 30-second point. I don't know. Nobody knows why he decided to even try that attempt. He had nobody around him.
I thought he was going to, after he did that, pull his shirt off to reveal he was wearing an Arsenal kit. It's fucking ridiculous pass. I don't know what he was doing. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm sorry for saying your comments are stupid, really. I'm just upset.
He understands. He understands. This is we're just hanging out chatting, and you can be upset. We just want to hear what you have to say, though. And Stan, go right ahead.
I actually thought that Martin Odegaard had quite a good game. He's quite adventurous with his passing. Some of the things he tries don't come off, but I mean, the pass to Saka, the weight on that ball to get to Saka, without that, there is no goal. And that's what he brings to the team for me. And for Saka to put that away with his weaker foot, that was his right foot, he put that away with. Superb. But something that I wanted to mention that I wasn't happy about. I was quite surprised to see that he was going again with Tomiyasu as the left back, because at the Liverpool game, he said afterwards that he'd spoken to Tierney about this and explained that it was just a tactic change for that one match, and then he goes and does it again here, right? And for me, it reminded me a little bit of when he played Xhaka at left back once, and it came off. It went well for that match, and again, it was a tactical decision of why he done it. But what did he do? He got too cool for school, and he done it again. It didn't come off, and I was a little bit surprised to see him do that with Tomiyasu, because Tomiyasu was trying to play the inverted role yesterday, and he was trying to come into midfield, and I just thought for me that it just wasn't working at all. At all. He should have left that one as it was for that one match, for the tactical change, and continued to dine out on that as a tactical genius. But doing it again and it just not working, that was a bad move for me. So I really hope that we don't see that too often, because it wasn't like we didn't have anybody else available. We had a perfectly good left back available in Kieran Tierney. So if I'm Kieran Tierney, I would be wondering to myself, well, he told me before it was a tactical change. So what was it today against Leeds? You know, why would you do that? And again, I think the reason why a lot of this is happening with our back line, and I've said it a few times, it's because he's frightened to take Ben White out. What I mean by that is, at the beginning of the season, I think that had Tomiyasu been available from the get-go, he would have started as right back. And I think that Ben White would have started the pairing with Gabriel Megalegs, and Saliba would have been coming off of the bench. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, because he wouldn't have unlocked Saliba, and we would have missed out on probably some of the good performances that he's put in for us. But now that everybody's back and healthy, he is, to me, Mikel Arteta to me looks frightened to make a decision there, because if he takes out Ben White and puts Tomiyasu in at right back, what's he going to do now? Is he going to leave Ben White on the bench, his 50 million defender? He can't take out Saliba because Saliba's playing really well. He's not going to take out Megalegs because he's the left-footed one there. And I think it's a decision at some point that he's going to have to own. It's going well so far because Ben White's been playing well in that position. But if it's starting to affect the left back position now, I don't get it. You know, I don't understand the tinkering. If Tierney's available, he should play. If Zinchenko's not available, if you've got Zinni and Tierney, then make a decision based on whatever. But if you've only got one available, why are you playing a right back in there for?
I agree with Stan wholeheartedly on that. By the way, I was wondering if anybody else noticed that he was sitting on the bench, and I was just like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
As soon as you brought up that Tomiyasu, I was nodding my head like crazy, because that was, during the watch along, I was like, this is highlighting why Tomiyasu he's like some said, he's our best one-on-one defender.
Can I interject right quick here?
And that's
let me say this too. This is something I noticed in these European games. Now, does anybody know what position Tomiyasu played at when he was at Bologna?
Center back.
So why is he not playing center back in these European games? That's just me. That's just me. That's just something that I observed.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say on that note,
because he probably feels for some reason that Rob Holding is better for those games and that position.
I would agree on that.
Which I find that hard to believe, being that one's a well sort of oiled international.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would agree on that.
We're listening.
Okay. So the way I see it is that Arteta maybe thinks that Tomiyasu and Ben White and Saliba and Gabriel are all going to World Cup. So they need these games to be played in to get that extra, I guess, playing time so that they get ready for World Cup. That's the only reason why I think that they're being played where they're being played at. And maybe he's saving Tierney and Zinchenko as maybe depth for the games that are going to be played in January, maybe February. That's something that I could think of.
Tomiyasu not going to the World Cup though, is he?
I think
Japan's not in there. Neither is Zinchenko. I don't think he's going. Ben White.
All right, but
he's a little bit like that, isn't he? If he goes, it'll be a last-minute thing if there's still problems at right back. Well, I don't think Mikel Arteta really cares about the England setup and all of that.
That was going to be my initial thought, is that if he cares about the World Cup, that he wouldn't send his players there if he really cared about it, because he shouldn't want to play his players in the World Cup. I mean, if he had any thoughts about the World Cup, it would be, I don't even want my players to go there, right? Because they get hurt when they come back.
But the only nailed-on starter from Arsenal in the World Cup is probably Saka, right?
Ramsdale.
He's no. Ramsdale, he probably goes to the World Cup, but he ain't playing it. He won't play him ahead of Pickford, will he? He's got his favourites, man. Now, if Ben White goes, he'd probably just be going as cover at best. And, there'd have to be some kind of like Titanic situation to happen for him to get a game. So I don't think that we're too. maybe Partey, but Partey again, right? He got fitness levels, he got fitness issues, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, Lonzo, and then Tony, you can go.
So the player I want to highlight is, of course, Odegaard. I think had a good game. I think that playing against Leeds kind of made it hard for him, of course, but without that assist, right, then Zaka wouldn't have got that goal. So I think that he is again one of our best players moving forward. I think that at the end of the day, was that way at Leeds, so we had a hard time with them. I think Saliba had difficulties there. And I think, Mr. Tom.
Go ahead, continue.
He had a handball there. And so, it just kind of, it's a hard place to play. And I think people need to realize that they play us really well defensively. So it was kind of hard to make that turn third. So yeah, in most cases, you could say that Leeds could have won that game by more than just one goal. But we had our own. I think Rio came on. He tried to change the game up a little bit, but unfortunately, we didn't have enough of our teams. I didn't have enough going forward enough to win to put more goals in. But at the end of the day, it was a win.
Cool. And Tony, you wanted to say something on? I don't know if it was on Tomiyasu or not, but yeah.
Tomiyasu, leave where Stan was commenting on. If you put Tomiyasu out there, you see it isn't working. Arteta has 5 substitutes, so he can make switches. See something that isn't working. You can also give the players rest that way. Bring on players at 30 minutes, 25. We haven't been doing that. That's kind of why we've seen a sluggish performance yesterday. But even in Europa, you see Jesus, Saka, which they shouldn't be playing. Or at least what games we've had to play ever since PSV. But definitely room for rest. We can cycle the players around. If you see what's on the pitch isn't working, yeah. But I posted there how many people out of the panel would switch to a back 3. That way you have solid 3 defenders. You're attacking, but give up the high line to protect the goal. Because a lot of times they're only one guy back there.
No, I hear you. No, I Arteta, he's got his ways, and that's what he's going to do. Yeah, when Stan was talking about Tomiyasu and you guys are talking about Tomiyasu, I just couldn't stop nodding my head. I mean, it's pretty clear to me we've got 4 fullbacks, and they all have different skill sets. Some are more defensive minded. I think the most defensive player we've got is Tomiyasu. Offensively, you've got, Zinchenko, who kind of can do both, can move inside. Tierney can kind of do both. Ben White has been solid. I think defensively, being a center back, he's good there. Going forward, he's doing a decent job. I didn't see too many issues coming up the right side from him, but definitely on the left side from Tomiyasu, he is not comfortable. I mean, a couple of times, and I kind of, like I said, I watched that first half. There were at least 2 or 3 times when Tomiyasu got the ball, and he might be under some pressure. That's kind of the way this game was going with the pressure that Leeds puts on you. He just coughed up the ball. I mean, he coughed out the ball a couple of times. The one that's clear as day to me is the one who got the ball. He saw the 2 Leeds players coming at him. He just froze. They took it off of him pretty easily. I believe it was Rodrigo ended up getting a shot. The shot went high and wide. But they did have, they did have some fun on that side because he's just not. That's not him. That's not what he's good at all. In this kind of game, I guess we know better now. More than likely, you won't see Tomiyasu in there unless, like you said, we go to a 3 at the back, which I don't foresee. But we're going to probably go, one of our other two, fullbacks, be it Zinchenko or Tierney, and kind of move things around to make sure they're on the right sides. But yeah, I think it's usually clear as to what we should do. And like you said, Arteta likes to continue on instead of to switch things up based on what is best for the squad. And he did make a mistake there, and we didn't pay for it as worse as we could. So that's kind of our roundup of the game. We kind of talked about the game itself, the players and stuff like that. I know we've had talk about our next game coming up, and the next weekend's games as well. Arsenal. I know Leeds plays. I think Leeds plays this midweek, but I believe they do, right? But Arsenal does not have a Premier League game this week. We do play PSV. I think we are going to go pretty strong with that because I feel like if we're going to try to get a win versus them, I'd rather do it at home. And so I think I believe we'll go stronger than usual, which instead of, I guess, moving 4 or 5 players out, would probably be 2 or 3 out from our starting lineup. So that's what I see us doing so we can get the 3 points. PSV's been pretty good based on what I've seen so far. They are behind us because BODO was able to get BODO is good and was able to draw with them. So the fact that we got 2 wins against them back to back is pretty good based on that fact. So, if we can get the win, I think that gives us full control of where we want to be. Matt, I guess I don't know if you want to talk about PSV or you want to talk about our next game, which I believe is Southampton. I think that's on the road, if I recall. Is that right?
Both of them on the road.
Both of them on the road. So, yeah, I'll let you talk about whichever one you want, but let everybody have their say on our next set of games.
PSV is a game that's going to be a very tricky game, man. PSV are very, very, very difficult to deal with, and I know what the hype's going to be going into this game. You're going to hear a contingent of, it's just the Gapco. They call it the Gapco Expo. So everybody's going to be out looking at Mr. Gakpo to see if supposedly we're supposed to be looking at him or whatever. That game could go either way. It all depends on who Arteta puts out there. So that's kind of a anywhere game. Now let me get to Southampton. This is the type of game that could easily be a replica of what we saw yesterday if we're not careful. Because these are the kind of tricky games that will either get you to drop points or get nothing, or you don't get anything from it at all. And so we've got to go into Southampton. It's one of our bogey teams too, by the way. So we've got to go to St. Mary's and come away with something. Now, because we're at the top of the table, we're going to win this game. We'll probably win 2-1. But it's definitely not a game that we should look past. And you remember last week I told y'all, I said we don't look past Leeds now, and we saw what happened. But I think Southampton will be a little bit of a test. I expect us to win, and hopefully we have a better showing than we had on yesterday in both games, because that game last Thursday was criminal too. So hopefully we can have a better showing.
Cool. All right. So, Alonzo, I'm going to let you go next. Talk about the next 2 games. Any thoughts you have on that?
I mean, PSV has always been a very good team in the DWTT. So they're very strong historically. I think it's Ajax, PSV, and Feyenoord. So they've been pretty well in this competition. Of course, Ajax been pretty good in the Champions League, as well as Feyenoord. They won a competition recently, I think. And last year they were pretty well in the League of Champions or League of Nations Cup. Anyway, my point being is that they're a very good team. And so we gotta play hard. Like Matt was saying that he thinks that this game is gonna like the one at Leeds. I think that we're talented enough to win that game. Of course, talent doesn't always win. Going to Southampton is always a tough game too at St. Mary's. So, we had to play our best before the break, just to break away from Man City and Tottenham and Chelsea. So, yeah, every game is important from here on out. And hopefully Arteta knows the best lineup. You would think so by now. And stop playing people out of position, maybe give people a chance. Maybe hopefully take some risks as well by switching the center back hurrying up, but we all know he's not going to do that. It's just wishful thinking. So hopefully we get some more Vieira playing, so he get more accustomed to the players around him. Hopefully get some more of maybe give the Congo chance, Zombie chance to hopefully play his part as well, because he's still a very young player, but he needs some games in as well. So, hopefully he'll play some of them who've been on the bench and give him a chance. Hopefully Zinchenko will be healthy enough to play some as well. So, we'll see what happens. I'm going to know the team, the way they've been playing, and hopefully he'll take some rest as well. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, Mr. Tom. I know I think you guys have 2 matches coming up, right?
Yeah, probably.
First one is Leicester. You got Leicester on Thursday.
Yep, and yeah.
You're not going to talk to us today? Come on, man. Give us something.
What's to say about it? If we lose, we're fucked, and if we win, we're still shit.
No, if you win, you're supposed to win. You should expect to win. If you're playing Leicester, you should be expecting to win that. And then you have Brentford after. That's going to be a tough match. So,
I hate football so much.
Tom, is somebody throwing your bag of crisp? Is that what's wrong?
Football's just the worst.
But you have another match coming up, so that's where you go next, because you can't go back anymore. That's over now for everybody. I mean, you asked a lot of teams right now that they're saying that they're feeling the same way as you.
13 times in a row. How do we keep losing to you? I don't understand it. It's just 13 times in a row. Fuck it all. How? Sorry.
We feel your pain. All right, Tony.
So I'd be curious if Jesus is ready. Definitely didn't look fit, didn't look right. But after if I couldn't pass that. Oh, shut up, fucking phone. Sure, he's trying to butt in their way. I want to risk him. If his head still isn't right, I want to risk him. I do something crazy and put in the middle, leading the line. There's a little Eddie and Keddy, especially against PSV. A strong team, probably a stronger team than we should. Are getting tired, so when it comes to Southampton, to be one of those games like Leeds that we could win to them, we shouldn't, but we just don't have the depth, and we can't get the depth until January. We just got to do what we can, cup break, and see what happens. But not really. Sunday's game,
Cool. And Stan, we were just talking about the remaining the games, the next two games on our list, PSV and Southampton. They should, our expectations have to be that we're gonna win those ones. Stuff, but I think it's gonna be tough. I think Arteta is gonna have to come out with a serious plan here, based on how we played the last two matches.
I think the PSV one's going to be a very difficult game. They're second place in the Eredivisie at the moment. They have a very, very passionate fan base. It's going to be extremely noisy. And I think looking at the squad that we have, our squad, we would ideally want to play as many of our first team as possible. But as the Arsenal Misfit pointed out, a lot of them are looking a little bit tired already, aren't they? So it's going to be a difficult one because I'm not sure how many of our second string, if you play them all together, would be able to go to PSV and get a winning result. So I think that's going to be the difficult fixture. As for Southampton, mixed bag, aren't they? Been a bogey team for us, but you can see them get whomped one weekend where they shouldn't get it, and then they'll go somewhere on the road, and they'll come away with points. But again, I mean, we're starting to get into that period now where the limits of our squad is really going to be tested. And we can't just hide players. Players like Sambi Lokonga, they can't be hidden away. At the risk of overplaying some of the first team. They've got to be able to do their bit when called upon. You can't just hide them away. Otherwise, there is no point buying them. No point buying a player and not fielding them. So it's he's going to have to make a decision come Thursday. So it's going to be really interesting to see how strong or indeed how weak the team for PSV away will be.
I hear you. Yeah, like I said, I feel like he needs to go strong there, and I know Southampton is a bogey team for us, but for me, I think it's most important that we get, if we're going to continue in this Europa League, that we win the group, and we're going to have to beat PSV at least once to make it easy on ourselves. I like easy, so
we don't operate in easy Arsenal.
Well, no, I know, but the easiest choice would be to play at home and go for it, right? And then whatever players you have left, then that's what.
Are we playing him at home Thursday? Are we playing him at home Thursday?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me look at this again. Yeah, we play at home.
Well, yeah, we need to go strong then. Try to at least get the win there.
Are we at home this week?
Yeah, we're home this week. We're home against PSV. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, no, we're home against PSV, so that's one reason why I thought we would go as strong as we can. The players don't have to travel and all of that kind of stuff. And I'd rather hit them in the mouth first, because they will hit us in the mouth.
Gary, I really think a lot of people are underestimating this squad depth, man. I Stan brought it up. We are at, you look at a team like City, man, and they can just roll them out. I mean, that's true enough they lost Sunday, but they can just roll them out. Liverpool can just roll them out, and we're literally in a situation where it's like, we played a strong team on Thursday, but now you got to think about Sunday. Like, okay, so how are we going to do this Sunday? And we've been saying all year, God forbid somebody gets, we get a massive injury. And it's just like, we are really, really skint. Or as you would love for me to say, we're naked. I mean, we are naked. And so, this, I just know, fellas, we got to get some signings, man. And it's funny, Stan, because we said this last year. We were like, hey, we got to get signings in January. And I mean, this year we really have to get signings in January. Even like I told y'all last week, even if it's 2 or 3 loans, we got to get bodies on the pitch.
Yep. No, like I said, that's why I've always wanted a rotation, so that we're not sitting in a situation we are right now, where we're,
tell the guys how many you told me yesterday. Tell the guys how many people.
5. We need 5. We still need 5 more players for us to even to compete with what we're doing today. We saw that against BODO Glimp, right? We're short, and some of that might be Emil Sofro. If he was healthy, would be fine there. But if Sambi was further along, that would make it easy. But he's not, so that's a challenge for us.
Would you send Lokonga out on loan in January?
No.
I think here we go. I think he would be fine because he could play both an 8 and he could be like the third backup behind Partey, right? He seems to be comfortable there. So, but here's the thing: this whole like Douglas Luiz stuff that happened, and then looks like it's gone, right? Because his girlfriend says he's staying in West Ham, essentially. We need cover behind Partey, regardless, right?
Stan's rational. Stan, what would you do with Samuel Lokonga in January? Would you loan him out? Because see, I feel like I hear the criticisms from, and this is just not directed towards anybody on this panel, but I hear the criticism about Samuel Lokonga, and I've tossed this about. I said I felt as if he's one of the players that should have went out on loan this year. I mean, we see how he's doing for Trusty over at Birmingham. I just feel like Lokonga, he came in, hit the ground, and it's like he really hadn't got himself settled at all. And you can see it in his play. And I just feel like him playing in a team, maybe a Palace, a Leeds, for instance, or down in the championship, even if it's just for a half a season, would do him well, because it would at least get him the speed. Because what we're doing is we're putting him in these games. What's going to be interesting is we're putting him in these European games, but when they started getting trickier, when that new batch drops in a couple of weeks, and then we have to go play Inter Milan or somebody, or we play, we got to play one of these big teams. Will he get that time? Because what happens is he'll get dropped into the situation, and then everybody's on his back about, well, he's not, we need to sell him, we need to get rid of him. Well, I think he's a player that I can see a player there, but he needs to work on his craft.
If this is European and you're talking about knockout rounds, our second string wouldn't be playing anyways, right?
And that you're making my argument for me. So in that, because he's not going to be playing a lot of Premier League games as of right now, unless we have something major. I think the best course of action will be to loan him out and bring in someone, loan him out, loan somebody else in place of him, to give him time away, and then loan somebody that we know we could probably send back out, and then we can see where he's at next season. That's just me. Stan, and I'm sorry, Stan, I was asking you, how would you go about handling this situation?
I'd go with exactly what you've just put up on the screen there from 00/X. If we get reinforcements for Partey's position and El Neni is back, then we've got cover to send him out on loan. But I think at the moment we're down to the bare bones. If that doesn't happen, if we don't bring any cover in for that position, then we can't send him out on loan.
Yeah, and that's in a sense what I was saying. Yeah. So yeah, I think that we should really be trying to get cover for that position and then send him out on loan. I don't think and I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think that he's one of these players that just need to, you have that one player that if they go off and they do their thing, they come back and it's like, wow, this guy's got it together. He dropped into the team, and we were also in a situation where we were looking for anything we could get, just a signing, can we get somebody? And he showed up, and it's kind of like everybody was looking for him to do everything. And I'm like, no, he needs to be pushed out on loan. This is why I was upset last week when I see players like Reece Nielsen get their opportunity, and then you don't see anything of it. That's when that's what drove me crazy last week with that game. Was here's a guy that has been around here for a while, and and we're still at square one. And that's why I asked you yesterday, Gary, when we was on the phone, what would you do? And what did you tell me? What did you say? It's time to get these guys who we know for a fact need to be, take what you can get and start applying that to get guys in.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, everybody that's out on loan, I don't think there's any outside of the academy players needs to come back, right? It's just a waste if they come back. We're not going to play them, and they're not part of our future. Yeah. No, like I said, I like the Zombie and Sauvage experiments didn't work because we thought they were going to be backups in their respective roles. Tabaj is not a fullback. We found that out pretty quickly. And Tommy and Sambi, though he looks comfortable on the ball and stuff like that, in a game like yesterday, if that was Sambi playing there, we would have just got run over in midfield. I mean, he's not going to want to come for the ball when he's got basically 4 defenders behind him and he's going to have to turn and split them. He's not going to do that comfortably. He's not going to be have the confidence to do that and be able to play a good ball like Partey does. So if that's what we need. We don't have it behind Partey right now. Anybody else want to talk about players and then hear from Alonso? No. All right. So we're sitting here around 75 minutes. There were a couple things that came up, and I'll put the captions up real quick here. And I saw this, and I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if you guys saw it as well. It looks like Steven Gerrard is maybe out the door soon. But it was hard to tell whether it's real or not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then there's also, I saw a tweet that they're looking at Poch to come in. I don't know how if that's gonna be true either.
Did you saw last week about Wolves bringing back Nuno?
Yeah, and then there's that rumor as well. So there's a lot of rumors in terms of
hopefully that's after we played them.
It shouldn't matter. That's one of those things where I don't think it matters who's their manager. We should be fine.
You don't play them right if they get him back and they get the bounce.
They're getting no bounce, man. There's no air in that ball, man. Come on. Is there any air in that ball? I don't think so. It's got a hole in it. So I guess you did see the Ballon d'Or winners were announced today. Putella from Barcelona, she won her second in a row. Benzema won his first. City was considered the team of the year. I think a lot of people think Real Madrid probably was the best one behind them. There were 3 Arsenal players that were invited, I guess. Saka, I guess it was in the young players. He finished off 8th. Some think that was a little low for him. And then you also had Beth Mead, who I think finished 3rd or 2nd, actually. She finished 2nd, and Viv Miedema was also in the top 11. So Arsenal has said representation there in the awards there. Anybody else? Anything else they want to talk about before we head out of here? No, we just talked about the game, and I think I hope you guys all enjoyed talking about that. I know Mr. Tom's not too happy. Hopefully they'll get a win this week, and he'll be a little bit more cheery and chat with us because we love to hear from him. Anybody else?
Crisp.
We still love you, Tom.
Miss Tom and his crisp.
Yeah. Do you have a question of the day for us? Because at the least you should have a question of the day for us. That would have been nice.
Yeah,
I think his notebook might be missing.
No, he said he's got a question. He's got a question. I don't know. We'll see if we we'll see where this one goes.
What did Olivier Giroud achieve at the 2018 World Cup?
Oh, I think I know this one, if I recall. No, I think I do. No, I don't know. Huh.
He played like so many consecutive games. He scored in so many consecutive games or some stat. I remember hearing it too. Man, what was it? It was a goal a game or something like that for what was it?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was
it was some stat where it was something that was unique. I remember hearing about it. He scored coming off the bench so many times or something like that. I can't quite remember exactly what it was.
We'll see if anybody in the chat has anything. Anybody in the panel got any thoughts?
Something about something about something about touching the ball. The other team didn't touch the ball, and he did something, or he didn't touch the ball for 90 minutes or something, or a half.
Wow.
Something about the ball. I seem to remember something about it.
We'll see if anybody in the chat has a say before we switch.
No passes or something. I don't know.
Register a single shot.
No passes.
Yeah.
Target.
I think this is Why Not Scott without scoring. I'm not sure if that's the touches without scoring or something like that.
Target.
We'll give it a one. We'll give it half a minute here. Say, he's right. Okay.
Tony got it.
All right.
He managed to win the World Cup as a forward that never had a shot on target in the whole tournament.
There you go. Yipes.
Which is, I imagine that's pretty unique.
For a striker, yeah.
Imagine it is.
All right, people. We've hit the 80-minute mark. I'll let everybody have their say, and then we're gonna head out of here. We'll start with you, Alonzo. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, if we want a chance to win the league or do anything major, we have to learn how to. Miguel Arteta has learned how to rotate and trust his players, the ones he does play, and and I hope that Eddie and Kelly learn how to score goals when we need them to. I think that I really like the guy. I think he's a cool dude, but when he's on the pitch, he should learn how to at least try to score goals and get some goals in to help his confidence. Other than that, I think we have a good chance of winning the title, at least come close to that. And our expectations should always be in the top four, but always remember that we should always be up for the title as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we'll be all right.
Cool. All right, Mr. Tom. People want to hear from you before you head out of here.
All right. Sometimes football can bring joy of the utmost emotions, and at other times it can make me wish I was dead. Have a good week.
Okay. And Stan, lighten us up a little bit, put a smile on their face, hopefully.
You should always enjoy the good times. And I think if Mr. Tom has shown us anything this evening, he's been an example of why you should enjoy the good times. It wasn't so long ago when it was Arsenal that was, we were the butt of the jokes in the league. Everybody knew how we were going to play. We couldn't, buy a result. So enjoy it. Who knows where we're going to end up at the end of the season? We might be fighting for fourth place. We might be fighting for third place, or we could be in the position of what Leicester did not so many years ago. We don't know. So I'm just me personally, I'm enjoying it right now. I'm looking forward to seeing the next game and the game after and the game after. So for me, it's onwards and upwards. And I look forward to seeing who we field and how we do against Ruud van Nistelrooy's PSV.
Cool. And I heard Keown might be in the tunnels waiting for him if we do things. And Tony, that's what you got to say.
First thing, these Cheetos, they're fucking delicious.
Cool.
And to Mr. Tom, now I say this in shows every once in a while, a little bit similar to Gary. Yesterday is my past. Tomorrow is the future. Today. And on the football one thing, hopefully we go out and give the 3 points so that we give our players some rest. They get rest coming up pretty soon. Starts in less than a month.
Cool. Yep, that's right. And Matt, let us
Plain
know
and
what
simple.
you got to say. Yep, go ahead.
Plain and simple. Just win, baby.
We are
Just
top
win.
of the league.
Oh, well, I'm saving that for the
Yeah,
end.
you say
Saving that.
you're out.
All right. So yeah, as you said, the reason why I smile because I like being on the show with my friends talking about football. even on the dark days, because we've had those before. So, as just Dan said, there are some good things we can talk about, even though we are feeling a little bit of pain from the way our teams treat us sometimes, and the way the game and the sport treats us as well. So, try to smile if you can, and you listen to my quote at the end. You know what I mean by that. So yeah, I'm looking forward. Like I said, I'm looking for a strong team, which means we're going to have to rotate on the weekend. In my eyes, Arteta's going to have to start to trust his players, like I think Alonso and some of you have said already. We need to, if you're going to bring these players in and you can't trust them, why'd you bring them in? Right. And I think Arteta is good at giving confidence to his players because we see it. We've seen it. We've seen how he treats Xhaka. He has a lot of confidence in him, and all the players should feel the same way. They all should feel the same way, that he's got confidence in them wherever he puts them on the pitch. And I think that might be lacking a little bit, and that's why we see some of the performances we do. But we'll be back here again next Monday.
Whoa!
No, I haven't done. I'm not done.
We got to sing the song. We got to sing it.
We'll sing it. We got PSV, and we'll talk about Southampton on Monday. I know Matt wants to have our song before I say my words and we head out of here. But go ahead, Mr. Matt. Go ahead. You want to start it?
Count it down. 3, 2, 1. We are top of the league. We are top of the league. We are top of the league.
And and I did. And it was funny when we scored the goal. They did. The fans were cheering at the stadium. So it travels. It travels. Yeah. So we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna enjoy this ride as it is right now because we don't know where it goes next. 38 tests, and we want to try to win all 38 if we can. So we'll see how that goes. So, like I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. All right, everyone. We'll see you next Monday.